No. Now. Joey's pointing at me when we go live. I've got things out here that you need for today. Today we're going to do what's called a watercolor resist. So while everybody's logging on, we'll just say hi to each other. We're already starting to get reservations for next week. So make sure you go on and order your bags while we're working this week. Watercolor Resist today, so you can kind of see my supplies here. I posted a little list of what you need. We're going to use the big watercolor paper today that says oil pastel on the top of it. So this is the day you get to break out your set of oil pastels. This is really cool. In our activity bags this week, everybody got their own set of oil pastels. They're really cool. They got all kinds of pretty colors in them. So we're going to use these today. I already used mine earlier to do our demo project. So get your activity bag out. You're going to need a container of water from home, since we're doing watercolor.
Do you have anybody watching yet? I mean,
Okay.
well, there's
I'm
2 people, but nobody's actually signed up that we know.
waiting for everybody to sign in. So while I'm waiting for everybody to sign in, we'll just say hi to folks. Then if you're pulling up this video later, you'd see this, right, Joey? Okay. So let's see. We'll say hi to Bay and her crew that's out there, Anna and Finley, and Madison. I don't think Madison's out there this week, but Harper is. And we'll say hi to Nick. Nick really liked our project yesterday. I did too, Nick. Eva's out there with her cousins, who I don't think are with her. They're someplace else. But Sarah and Maria are out there.
That's 6.
Campbell and Noah are out there. Who else is out there? When you sign on, please go to our little comments and say good morning or hi, or put one of those emojis or those little smiley faces. That kind of lets us know when we've got people there and we're ready to start. We've got Cole and Tyler and Francois. How did your mom do? Did she do her project yesterday? And Emily, I think Emily just signed on. I'm looking forward to meeting Emily one day. Who else is signing on? Mia and Evie are probably out there someplace getting ready. I think Mia might be doing schoolwork and doing her project later. Casey and Sophia, are you out there? Hi. Oh, I hear you just signed on. Hi, girls.
Addison and...
Oh, Addison and Alexandra?
Yep.
Did I see you guys sign on? I'm anxious to meet you. And I think Addison and Alexandra must be twins, because they both have the same birthday listed in their reservation, or in their registration when Mom ordered your bag. I saw you both had the same birthday, which must mean you're twins. I got another set of twins out there, Lydia and Patrick.
Cody signed on.
I don't know if they've signed in yet.
Cody.
Cody, and does Cody have a sibling, Jesse? Maybe that signed on. I think Cody signed on. Isla and Flora and Clara, are you out there somewhere?
Clayton and Caroline.
Clayton and Caroline, that's another set of kids that I would look forward to meeting this summer. I'm so hoping we get to do summer school. We're all being really, really good and staying in our houses and not going in big groups someplace and wiping your shoes down and washing our clothes and washing our hands. I've never washed my hands so many times in my life.
Your niece just signed on.
My niece just signed on. Hi, Kelly. Kelly is a special ed teacher. This is my niece, and she lives near Atlanta in Johns Creek. Remember that, right? She's a teacher in Gwinnett County Schools, and they're on their spring break this week. So she's been really busy online, like a lot of our teachers are over here with her students the last couple weeks, but she's on spring break this week. So hopefully she gets to go biking and walking Windy and seeing Robbie, my nephew. He's over there too.
Dana just got on.
Oh, I saw Dana's logged on, so I see Evie and maybe Mia if you're not doing schoolwork, but I'm sure Mia will do her project later.
Cody.
So I think I saw Cody sign on.
Nick.
Nick's on there. Hi, Nick. I really like that project too. Didn't it turn out just so incredibly cool?
Emily Wells just signed on.
Who signed on?
Emily Wells.
Emily Wells. She's our shoe girl. Emily
She's
is
Emily
a
Moss.
friend of my oldest. Went to college with my oldest son, Josh. And Emily worked on Hilton Head one summer when they were in college. And she moved into our family room when we lived out in Rose Hill. And Emily had more shoes than anybody I've ever seen in my life. I think she had 500 pairs of shoes. Hi, Emily. Okay, we are doing a watercolor resist. I think we got quite a few people signed on. Sarah Elizabeth, I think I saw Sarah Elizabeth has signed on. I think her mom Amanda might be doing a project with her too. I love knowing that we've got adults out there doing projects. Garrett and Morgan are back on. Garrett's the one I mentioned yesterday. He's doing his Art Merit Badge via online streaming. So who would have thought when we made Scout handbooks that we could do this way? So I think we got enough people signed on. We're going to talk a little bit about what we're going to do today. This is a picture. Do we see this, Joey? This is a picture of what we're doing today. Some dragonflies. It's called a mixed media project because we're using watercolor and we're using oil pastels. And we refer to it as a watercolor resist because what's really cool is we do the oil pastels first and all the oil in the oil pastels resists the watercolor, so we wash the watercolor right over the tops of the oil pastels, and it's really cool to watch. It's kind of like if you've ever helped mom or dad cook, when you try to mix oil into water, the oil just beads up on top of the water. They don't mix together. So that's the same concept here. See, we're having science together. So we're going to start with our oil pastel. You got one a big piece of paper clipped to your board. This is one that says oil pastel up in the corner. And what's cool about this project, you can see I did 2 of them, and I did it with a vertical, up and down. But you could do yours horizontal if you wanted. You could just do one big dragonfly in the center if you want. You could add another one. Oh yeah, look at this. I did 2. That's usually not what I do. I always do odd numbers. So you could add another. We could put a really tiny little dragonfly in a corner. So what's cool about this project is yours doesn't have to look like mine. You can just do 1. You could do 2. You could do 3. You could do a whole herd of dragonflies. Don't know what, a flock maybe? Maybe we call them a flock. Don't know what you call a group of dragonflies. Somebody will have to look that up on their phone for me. But we need our oil pastel paper. Mr. Joey's looking it up for me. You're going to want to get your Sharpie and your eraser that's in your bag. And then from there at your house, you need to make sure you got a pencil. Some of you are more comfortable, plotting it out in pencil before we use our Sharpie. And a group of dragonflies. Oh, that makes sense. It's called a swarm. See? We're learning vocabulary and science. The other thing out of your activity bag you want to get is this little set of oil pastels that were in there. Let's see. So you had this all wrapped in plastic, which is a trick to get torn off. So you want to take the plastic off, and then the oil pastels slide out like this. If you don't have an activity bag at home and want to try this with us, crayons won't work as well, but they'll work. Crayons have a lot of wax in them, so that will help resist the watercolor too. So if you don't have an activity bag, find some crayons. We'll need these. We don't need all these colors to do the dragonfly. That's the other thing that's cool about this project. You're the artist. My dragonflies have kind of red and yellow bodies, which I don't think is really what a dragonfly looks like, but I wanted something bright and colorful, and my favorite color is yellow, so my dragonflies have yellow bodies.
Like clusters.
And my wings have blues and purples on them. So what's cool is we've got all these colors in your oil pastels, and your dragonfly could be whatever colors you want. We're going to use a little bit of white in their wings, so that would be good if you're picking out different colors you want to use. We'll use a little white in their wings because it's cool. We want their wings to kind of look transparent. Dragonflies kind of have like see-through wings sometimes when you look at them. But if your favorite color is green, your dragonfly could have a green body. It could have yellows and oranges. It could have purples and pinks. It could have pinks and purples. Lots of people like pinks and purples. You could have browns and tans and blacks on your butterfly. So be thinking about what colors. The other thing you're going to need out of your bag is your little pot of green watercolor. This is our watercolor that's in there really thick. Remember, we're going to thin it down. Get your styrofoam plate out. If you're at home, just, paper plate, styrofoam plate, anything works. You need a container of water. Look at the container I picked up today. We recycle all our drink cups from summer camp, so I happen to have pulled a cup out that says Bay. And then you need your big chip brush. Okay? So get a container of water, fill it up with some nice clean water. We'll want our brush. That we'll use later. We're going to draw our butterflies, or our dragonflies first. The other thing that's cool is making sure you get a paper towel. Okay? We won't need to sop up a lot unless you knock over your rinse cup. But we need a paper towel because it's going to make some of these really cool abstract backgrounds. I made my background on here when I washed it with the watercolor. Kind of looks like there might be some other plants and all kinds of things going on back there. So the paper towel, I'll show you a neat technique at the end after we've done the watercolor, what we're going to do with the paper towel. Okay, so we got our paper, got your pencil and your eraser, got your Sharpie, got your watercolor, got your oil pastels ready. We're going to start by drawing our dragonflies, and we're going to give them a little stem to sit on. Dragonflies are really small, but when they stop flying so we can see their wings, they need something to light on. So we're going to give them a couple stems to light on. So how are we doing? Is everybody ready to start? You found all your supplies? Okay. I'm going to, Mr. Joey's going to move in so he can see my table here. Oh, and look, see, I'm thinking ahead, Mr. Joey. I'm going to move our picture down. Mr. Joey's always telling me, can't see it when you point up there, Mom. Okay. Mr. Joey's getting the camera set up so you guys can see. I'm going to put it down like this. Does that work, Mr. Joey?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just can't make it stay there, can I? Okay. Okay, does that work? Let's see if I can make this stay. Okay, can we still see it if I put it like that? Okay, you guys can all see. I'm going to draw with my Sharpie, just because I've already done this before, so I kind of know where my lines are going to end up, and I think I'll like them okay. And that way I think you all can see better when you're watching out there. I think when I draw with the pencil that it's a little harder for you guys to see. Okay, so I'm going to draw with the Sharpie, but you are welcome to draw with your pencil, and then we can just go over your pencil lines with the Sharpie. So we're going to start by putting one dragonfly in, and I think I'm going to go ahead and start with this dragonfly right here. Dragonflies, we're going to start with their big head or their body, and they got these big round eyes. I think if you ever looked at a dragonfly up close, would see these big round eyes. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to draw the dragonfly first, because I want him to look like he's on top of my stem that he's sitting on. And if I drew the stem first, I'd have lines going right through his little tail there, wouldn't I? So we're going to draw the dragonfly first, and then we're going to bump and jump the stem behind him. So I'm drawing vertical. Remember what I said, you can draw horizontal or vertical. You can make your paper look however you want. We're going to start by drawing this guy's little body up here. It's kind of shaped like the letter U, and that's going to be the biggest part. His little sections of his tail look like skinny little U's too. We're going to start with this body, and since I'm going to put two of them on there, I think I'm going to put this one right over here. So you want to kind of look at your paper and decide how much space you're going to need for your dragonfly. If you just want to make one big one, you can just put him right in the middle there. I kind of like them on a little bit of an angle. Makes it a little more interesting. So I'm going to start by drawing this dragonfly's body, and I'm going to put him over here. So I'm going to draw this. I'm just going to put like a big letter U here. This is going to be this part of his body. And then what kind of shapes do his eyes look like? His eyes look like circles, don't they? Dragonflies have really big eyes. So I made my view here for his body. And now I'm going to put 2 big circles right on top. I'm going to make them so they touch each other and sit right on top of the U there. I guess this is kind of upside down to how you're watching. Is this okay? Okay. Let's turn. I'm going to draw because I'm used to doing this with my classes. This way now it's facing you guys. This is how yours would look, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, a little better. Okay, now, dragonflies have this really long tail. It's a little skinnier than the body, and it gets a little skinnier as it goes down. So I'm going to think of putting little U's, and I'm going to think of like a little diagonal line coming right down here. I'm going to put a little smaller U under here. I'm going to hook another one on there, another one on there. I probably got a little skinnier than I wanted to. There we go. So make it maybe a little bigger. I like the size of this tail better, but I'm sure every dragonfly is a little bit different size. He's got to have a couple of little antennas up here, so I'm going to give him some antennas. And then he's got 4 wings. He's got 2 on each side. Dragonfly wings are kind of longer and skinny compared to like a butterfly. We get these big triangular wings, but on a dragonfly they get these long skinny wings, and they come out of his body here, this part up here. His wings don't come off his tail, but they come out of here. So we're going to draw 1, and they're almost like long stretched out U's. So I'm going to draw 1 big wing over here, and oops, it went right off my paper, and then it's going to come back in over here. And I'm going to put another one on this side. Like 1 long big skinny U. Like a really long skinny U. Okay? And he has 2 sets of wings. So I'll put another wing on this side. And I'll put another wing on this side. Okay? So both wings come out of this body that we drew first. We got 2 on this side, 2 on this side. I got 1 dragonfly. Now, if I was going to draw another dragonfly, I might put one up here. Maybe I'll draw a really little one up here. So again, we're going to start with his body. So I'm going to put a U up here for his body. You can put yours wherever you would like. You could only have part of him showing. Maybe we only see a body and part of the tail and then part of his wings coming in the bottom. We put 2 big circles on the top of his body. Add his little antenna on there. And then look, if I give him a long tail, what's going to happen? It's going to bump and jump right behind this wing. But remember how we said his wings are kind of see-through? So we're going to do something really fun. When I bump into this wing with this guy's tail, we're going to make little dotted lines. So we kind of see it through his wing and we kind of don't. So I'm going to start with 1 U for his tail. Add another U. Add another U. Uh-oh, here's where I bump into the wing. So I'm going to make little dots. And then when it comes back out the other side, now this whole U is going to get dotted. Dot. Oh, now I can see it. Now I can see it, and the rest of it gets dotted behind there. So if you bump and jump into a wing, when you bump into it, so we want it to look like it's behind it, but his wings kind of see through, so we're going to see little dots instead of a straight line. Looks kind of cool, doesn't it? I like it. We're going to do that when we add the stems too. So this guy, what's he missing? We need to give him wings. So remember, the wings come from this body up here. Everybody doing okay? Are we getting some dragonflies out there? Okay, here we go. We're going to give this one, remember, we're going to make a long skinny U. And we want to bring it back together, not quite to a point, but it gets his wing gets a lot skinnier where it hooks into his body than it is out here. So we'll give him his other wing on this side. What's going to happen to my wing here? It's going to run right off the paper, isn't it? Which, you know, Miss Jenny likes that kind of thing. Okay, So this wing goes right off the top of the paper. And then I'll do one more that's going to come over here. They look kind of like, oh look, they look like they're in line like in an army. They're both facing exactly the same way. Who would have thought I would have drawn them exactly the same? Usually I like to mix things up.
That's not an odd number.
And since it's not an odd number, which Mr. Joey just reminded me, I think I might put one, I'm going to put a really tiny one. You guys want to try drawing a really tiny one here? I think it'd be really cool to have a little guy right down here, facing the other way, since usually I don't line things up so perfectly. Art usually doesn't look so perfect, so I like things to look a little odd and a little asymmetrical. So I got to add another one down here, and I think I'm going to put a really little guy. So overall, he's only going to be about this big. So let's see if we can do that. I'm going to make his body. So put the U first. Give him his eyeballs. So he's a little smaller than these guys. Yep, he definitely is. Okay, then I'm going to add some U's for his tail. And I'm sure there is like a certain number of segments that dragonfly tails have, but we're just adding enough to make it long compared to his body. Oh, I like him. He looks really tiny compared to these guys, doesn't he? So then we come up and we give him his two wings. Of course, these wings are going to be smaller and not quite so long as those. We want them in proportion to his body. So we'll give him two over on this side. There we go. What's he missing? Anybody notice what he's missing? He's missing his antennas, so we gotta give him some antennas. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys a few minutes while you get caught up with your dragonflies. And like I said, you can just draw one if you'd like. You don't have to add another one and another one and another one. Miss Jenny's drawn lots of dragonflies, so it's easy for me to draw them quickly. But you guys can just draw one. You want to put his big body on. Give yourself two big round eyes. And then give yourself some little U's that hook onto each other. And the U's get a little skinnier as they go down to make his tail. Okay. So I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to catch up and get their dragonflies on there. Once we have our dragonflies on, I'm going to show you how we're going to add some stems and leaves here. I might make this guy just flying off into the distance and not put a stem through him. I got a lot of dragonflies on my paper, don't I? Could I add more? I could. I could get just having, what did Joey call them? A swarm. If we have a whole group of dragonflies, they're called a swarm. So I could add, if I wanted to stick with my odd number, I got 3. So I'd have to add 2 more and get 5. And I could add 2 more, I could end up with 7. So if I wanted to add more, I'd have to make some really tiny ones, wouldn't I? Because I don't think would fit too many more on here. And sometimes you get so many things on a piece of paper that it's hard to tell what they are. So I think I like my 3. I'm going to leave it at 3. Are we getting kind of caught up? Everybody got some dragonflies on there?
Tell them to give me a thumbs up.
Give me a thumb. Mr. Joe's trying to pantomime what to do, and Mr. Mark just says it so y'all hear it. Give me a thumbs up if you're... Go on and click that little thumbs up symbol like this, and let me know if everybody's got caught up like this. Oh yeah, don't give me a thumbs down. Give me a thumbs up. Mr. Joey's trying to tell me what to do here. Okay, so click that thumbs up if you're caught up with drawing dragonflies, and I'll show you what we're going to do with our stems and leaves. Oh, we're getting some thumbs up. So some people got dragonflies. You got 1 dragonfly, or do you have 3, or do you have 2? Tell me how many dragonflies you got. It's kind of fun for me to imagine what you're doing out there, since I can't see you. Usually I have a whole bunch of kids on the table in front of me, and I get to look at everybody's dragonflies, And the coolest thing is that nobody's dragonfly is going to look exactly like anybody else's. I always love seeing how different every artist is, and your interpretation of a dragonfly, and yours will look way different than mine. And that's what makes art so fun, that it's in your imagination. Everybody's got a different imagination. Are you ready to add some colors? Were you guys thinking while we drew about what colors your dragonflies are going to be? We could make some garnet and black dragonflies. They could be Gamecock dragonflies. I don't think I'll make any orange dragonflies because we're Gamecock fans here. I know, but it's yellow and red, which is not orange and purple. So, and this is not the purple that we see with our orange and purple team. So, but if you're an orange and purple fan, you can make your dragonfly. He would be a tiger dragonfly, wouldn't he? I think I might make one of my dragonflies. I'll have to make him a Gamecock dragonfly. My middle kid, Charlie, will like that. Stella will like that. My granddaughter knows how to say Gamecock. She's a Gamecock fan. It was one of her first words she said before she said Gigi and Papa. Okay, what we need to do is add a stem. And I might make a stem that's just going to go right, well, let's see. Look at my paper with me, and what do you think? Because the stem, yeah, Mr. Joey's doing just what I thought. The stem becomes part of the composition. You know how I said I thought it was odd that I made two dragonflies going exactly the same way, very symmetrical, not as interesting to look at. So we put this guy in here, which automatically made the drawing more interesting. So you think of putting a stem on the same way. We want to put the stem on and make the drawing look interesting, don't we? And I don't want to put a stem on that's going to go right up like this, because then I'd hardly see the stem, would I? So you notice on my drawing here, my dragonfly goes this way and the stem goes that way. This dragonfly goes this way and the stem goes that way. So we want them to kind of crisscross a little bit. So I'm thinking on this one, we could make a stem that's going to go through here. It's kind of cool to see the stem go through the dragonfly's wings. Do you see how we see little bits of the stem here through his wings? That's kind of cool. So you don't want to put a stem on that's not going to go through his wings. I wouldn't want to put a stem that goes like this, would I? That would be kind of boring and silly. It wouldn't show how transparent the wings are. So I could make a stem that goes this way. Then it's going to go behind his tail, which we're not going to see it through his tail because his tail is solid. But I'd see it going through his wing over here. So I might have one little stem going this way. Maybe I'll have another stem going that way. Oh, do we need to move the picture so you can see?
No, he just needs to back up.
I just need to zoom out.
Okay. We're going to leave that there. Let's see if I can move this over here. There we go. Is that good? Okay, so I'm plotting where to put my stems. You ready to try putting some stems on? Let's see. I think I'll put one that's going to come right up through here and right off my paper this way. So I'm going to draw one line, one side of my stem first, and when I bump into something solid, I'm going to jump over it. When I get to a wing, I'm going to keep going with dotted lines. Oh, let's see. Let's make it go down this way. Okay, so I'm going to start down here, and here's one side of my stem is going to come up. When I bump into his tail, I want to jump over and keep going. When I bump into his wing, I'm going to keep going with dotted lines right through his wing. And when I come out the other side, I'll be solid again. Okay? Now, I want to put a little color in my stem here, so I'm going to make a copycat line right next to that. I don't want to make it too thick. So I'm going to try to stay the same distance. Bump into the tail, jump over. Keep coming up to the wing. When I bump into the wing, I'm going to turn into dotted lines. I go across, and when I come out the other side, we'll be solid again. Now, I added some little leaves. They're like little skinny football shapes, okay? So I'm going to put a leaf down here. Whoops, my Sharpie's running out. Put a curve and put another curve, so we get little points. I kind of like leaves kind of clustered together. So we'll put a few leaves on the bottom of that stem. I think I'll just leave the leaves down there at the bottom, because there's a lot going on right in here, and I don't need any more leaves. We got a lot of lines going on in here. What about if we added one more stem someplace? Do you think we could have a little stem branching off of this stem? I could make it go through this guy's wings here. That might be kind of interesting. Go this way. Oh, Mr. Joey wants this to be complicated. He wants the stem to come off and go through here. Oh, look at that. We'll go through these wings and get transparent. Then we'll bump and jump behind this tail. And then we'll go through these wings up here and get transparent. Okay, Mr. Joey wants this to be complicated. You don't have to be as complicated as Mr. Joey. If you just want to leave one stem, that's okay. If you drew one dragonfly and just want to put one stem, try to make that stem go up through his wings maybe, but you can put your stem wherever you'd like. I'm going to try to make Mr. Joey happy since he's running my camera for me. So I'm going to start down here. Let's see if we can do this without me mixing up where the line goes. So we're going to branch this stem off of there. When I run into this dragonfly, I'm going to jump over, which turns into dotted line here. When it comes out the other side, it'll be solid still. Bump into this tail and jump over. Solid, and then turn into dotted lines. Solid in between the wings and into dotted lines. Okay, Mr. Joey, that's a complicated stem. But we're going to put a copycat line right next to it. Little dots. Solid again. Jump over, solid again. Dots. A little bit of solid. And dots. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Joey made us get really complicated there. Okay, do you think I think maybe no leaves. What do you think? Maybe we'll put a leaf over here. Looks kind of lonely over here, doesn't it? There we go. Okay, I got a lot going on my paper here. How's your paper doing? Are you getting some leaves and some stems on there? If you were doing all in pencil, you can take your Sharpie and go over it, over some of your lines. Kind of helps them just pop and show up a little bit when we do the watercolor. So take your Sharpie, go over your lines, and while we're doing that, you can make sure that you got some water in your container of water. And find your tip brush and your little pot of green. That's your little pot that's got a G on it. This is what we're going to use to do our background. But before we do that, we're going to use our oil pastels. This is really fun to do. Oil pastels are like in between a crayon and a chalk pastel. Chalk pastels are a little softer, makes a little bit more dust and blending than our pieces of white chalk that we've had in our bag. And crayons have a lot of wax in them. So it's hard to blend the colors of a crayon. When you put one color down and put another color down, they kind of stay those colors. Oil pastels are kind of like halfway in between a crayon and a chalk pastel. Miss Jenny totally forgot what I was saying. Halfway in between a crayon and a chalk pastel. So what's really cool about oil pastels is I'm going to show you when you use one color, you can use another color and they'll blend together. That's why you see some orange in my dragonfly here. I colored a little bit of red oil pastel just at the bottom of my segments of his tail. And then I took the yellow and I started at the top and I blended it right down into the red, and I got all these really pretty orange colors in between. So I'm gonna we'll scoot this guy up just a little bit. Let's turn. Okay, Joey says we're fine. Okay, have you thought of what colors to make your dragonflies? We're gonna color in the dragonflies first, and then we'll do the stems, and then we'll do the watercolor wash. So I'm gonna make these guys a little bit different color. So I'm gonna use a little bit, maybe we'll use some blues. Well, I don't think I want his tail to be green because I want green on my stems behind there. So maybe we'll do some pink and purple on his tail. What do you think? Pink and purple. Now, I want to see some really pretty blended colors on my tail, so I'm going to take one color. We'll see what pink and purple look like together. I'm going to take one color, and I'm going to put a little bit of this color on the bottom of the tail. Now, you don't have to press really hard with the oil pastel, but you do want to fill in the colors. See how I don't really see any white of my paper showing where I put the purple oil pastel? They're eating in front of me again, guys. I'm sitting here drawing away, and Mr. Mark and Mr. Joey are back there eating. Okay. See how you don't see the white paper through the purple oil pastel? If you just put some really light lines like that, when we do the watercolor wash, the green will be showing through his tail. So wherever you color that he's supposed to be solid, we want to make sure we fill it in with the oil pastel so you don't see the white of the paper showing. Now I just put a little purple in the bottom of each segment of his tail, and then I'm going to take a little bit of pink. I'm going to put some pink on the top here, and when you get down to the purple, it'll blend right into the purple. Isn't that pretty? I like how oil pastels blend. And they blend without you having to blend them with your fingers. So we don't have to get messy like when we blend charcoal or chalk pastel. Look at how that pretty purple goes right into the pink, and you don't see a line in between them. They blended right together. So when I colored with the pink, I brought it right down on top of the purple, and it made them blend really pretty together. Here, I'll do it on his body up here, and we can see even bigger. But I'm going to put some purple at the bottom, and I'm going to put some pink up here at the top, and then I'm going to bring the pink right down into the purple, and look how pretty they blend together. Doesn't that make a nice blend? Now I'm going to make his eyes a different color because I want them to really stand out. So
Stella says blue.
Stella wants to have blue eyes. Should we make blue eyes, Stella? Okay. My granddaughter wants blue eyes. Okay. Now, lots of times when I draw eyes, if I was drawing eyes, I would leave a little white of the paper like a reflection. But if I leave the paper white, when I wash the watercolor over, it's going to turn green. So we do have a white oil pastel here. If I wanted a white reflection, I could take the white oil pastel and put a little reflection in his eyes. Made a little curve with the white oil pastel. Give him a little reflection. I kind of like him. Now he's got this pink purple body, so colors on his wings, I might do, is this red? We could think about doing a contrasting color. Or complementary. This is my color wheel. We pulled this out last week when we were doing our weaving, if you remember. And I got pinks and purples. Pinks we make by adding white to red. And purple is over here, and these are our cool colors. These are our warm colors. These are our cool colors. So if I wanted to have a big contrast on my dragonfly, I could use some of these warm colors in his wings. Or if you go straight across a color wheel, those are called complementary colors. They're supposed to accent each other nicely. It means complementary. So if I've got some purples and pinks, it might be like right in between here, between the reds and purples. So I could do his wings in yellows and greens. That would be complementary. And since my favorite color is yellow, maybe we will do some yellow wings. And since I'm going to have a lot of green in the background, maybe I won't use green with my yellow, but maybe I'll do some yellow and maybe a little touch of orange with my yellow, even though it's orange. Okay, so have you thought about some colors? Are you drawing your dragonflies? I'm going to color in this guy's wings. Now, since I've got 3 of them on here, I'm going to go ahead and start coloring in some colors. You don't have to rush to keep up with me. You can color at your own pace. Remember that this will be on as a video and you can pull it up later to figure out how to do everything. But I'm going to go ahead and get my wings colored in because I want to show you how the watercolor wash is going to work. And we don't want to go too long. So let's see. What did I say? Some yellow on this guy's wings. So I'm going to put a little yellow. Now what's fun about his wings is I don't want to color the whole thing in. Do you see how when I did his wings here, I just put a little blue, put a little purple out here, made a purple streak through there. I added where you see the white is where I put a little white. So we don't have to put much color on his wings. We want his wings to look a little transparent. So I'm going to add a little bit of yellow like this on his wing here. We'll put a little bit of yellow on this wing over here. And it's okay if we don't color in the whole way on his wings. See how I didn't quite get all the white colored in here? You can see little streaks of white, which is great because it'll make his wing look more transparent. So I'm going to just put a little bit of color in. That's my yellow. We'll give him just a little touch of orange, just so we have a little pop of color here. Maybe we'll give a little orange on the bottom of the wings right here. Okay? That's all that dragonfly is going to get. I'm going to use a little bit of white in the middles here. Maybe put a little white out at the edge here. But I've left a whole bunch of my paper showing, which is cool because it's going to make his wings look transparent. This guy, let's make a black and red one up here. This will be our Gamecock Dragonfly up here. Remember, when you're drawing his tail, you want to put a little bit of color at the bottom and then a little bit of color at the top and blend them together. Now, will I see his tail? This wing's transparent, so I want to put a little bit of the tail color on here because I'd see this guy's tail right through his wings and Gamecock, so I need red. So we'll put some red on the top of these tail parts. Remember, on his tail you want to color the whole thing in, so we don't want to leave the paper showing. Ooh, look at that pretty blend of the black into the red. That looks really, 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 really cool. Ooh, that looks really nice. Look how pretty that looks. That makes some really, really cool blends. See, Gamecock colors are good. Look how pretty that looks. Now I'm going to make this really solid here. And I'm not going to worry if I fill the whole thing in. Remember, it's kind of going to look a little not as filled in behind that guy's wings. Okay, so I got a Gamecock. Should I give him blue eyes? Maybe all my dragonflies will have blue eyes. That'll be one thing that makes them all similar. And remember, on his eyeballs, if you want a white reflection, you want to color the whole eyeball in and then use your white to give a little reflection. If you left the white paper, it would get covered up with the green watercolor. How about if this dragonfly gets some blue? Put some blue on his tail. So my dragonflies are all very different. I'm going to give him blue. And what would go nicely with the blue? Orange is what's across from blue. But I think when they blend together, that won't look so pretty. So how about if we do purple? Let's see what the purple looks like. Oh, look how pretty that looks. That looks nice. Remember, on his tail, we're coloring in the whole thing so we don't see any white showing. Should I give him blue eyes like the other two guys? Probably. That way there'll be something similar about my dragonflies while all the rest of them are different. I'll give him a little reflection. There we go. I like the little reflection. Oh, we forgot this guy's wings and we need this guy's wings. So we got red and black tail. What's good for wings here? Maybe, what do you think? How about if we do some blue and yellow? We'll give him some yellow up in here. Oh, I never erased oil pastel. So we're gonna see my little letters. You might wanna go erase your oil pastel if it's showing. Okay, I'm gonna give him a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow. Put a little yellow at the top of his wings. And how about blue? What do yellow and blue make? Yellow and blue are gonna make green together. So that, oh, and remember, we don't want to color his whole wing in. I want to leave parts of his wing showing. Okay, and I'm gonna we'll put a little white in his wings. So we'll add white in a couple of spots. There we go. Okay, now what color should we make stem? Your oil pastels. Oh, we forgot this guy. Good thing I got Mr. Joey here. Okay, he's got this really pretty blue and purple body. So maybe we'll make him all color coordinated. We'll give him pink and purple wings. Maybe we'll have to, maybe I have one little girl dragonfly here. Lots of times girls like pink. My daughter-in-law Carolyn likes pink. This will be Carolyn.
Blue.
Blue. Blue with the pink. Put a little blue on the edges of his wings. Remember, we don't have to color all the wings. We can leave the wings, which makes it easier to get your coloring done. And put a little white. Put a little white. Okay. Mr. Joey's checking me, my dragonflies. We got bodies, we got tails, we got wings, we got eyeballs. Dragonflies are good. Okay, you got 2 shades of green. What I'm going to do is use this dark shade of green. I'm going to use a little bit of the light shade of green in the leaves. And I'm even going to use a little bit of this brown on the leaves. So I'm going to take my dark green and I'm going to color this whole stem in. Oil pastels really cover pretty quickly. Now, the stem goes through his wing. We want to see a little bit of it, right? I don't have to color it quite so solid, but we'll see a little green in there. And then this one gets colored in. Just see a little bit of green as it goes through his wings. Don't have to worry about coloring it all in his wings. This gets a little solid. You see a little green. There we go. Now I'm going to put a little of this dark green on part of the leaf. Put a little dark green on part of this leaf. And a little bit of light green. I'm just trying not to. Oh, we're okay. Okay. Now I know I was going through this really fast here. So you guys take your time. Get your greens out. The leaves are kind of fun to see this light green on them. See how I only put a little bit of dark green on the leaves? And we're going to fill the rest of it in with our light green. And just like on the tail, you can blend that light green right into that dark green. Makes really pretty blends, doesn't that? Look at that. Look at all those pretty blends with my dark green. You might notice that you're getting a little bits of fuzzies, like here. You can tap. Oh, should have tapped this way. You can tap your paper like that, and sometimes that gets all your fuzzies off. If you try to brush them off with your hand, it kind of smears the oil pastel, which is okay, because our background on here is what we call, oops, I gotta hold it down here. Our background on here is what we call an abstract background. It kind of gives the impression that maybe we got leaves and stems and all kinds of bushes going on back there. So if we smeared a little bit of oil pastel, don't worry about it. When we do a watercolor wash and it doesn't stick to it, that's okay. It'll look like we've got maybe faraway azalea blooms in your bushes, okay? So don't worry if you smudged a little. Oil pastels can get really smudgy. So when we get our stems on here and we get all our color in here, the next thing we're gonna do is the watercolor wash, okay? So while you guys are coloring, I'm gonna get set up and show you what we need to do with our watercolor. I'm gonna put this up here for right now. Okay, so you guys keep coloring. Is this in a good spot, Mr. Joey? Okay. I'm gonna, since I'm done with my oil pastels, I'm gonna move them out of the way. I'm gonna put the little cover back on them. These oil pastels slide right into here. This will keep anything from getting on them. I'm gonna get my styrofoam plate here. Okay. I kind of like my dragonflies. They look kind of cool. I like all their colors. Are you guys getting some really pretty colors on yours? Oil pastels make some really pretty vibrant colors. So we've got a lot of oil pastels in your set, so we may use our oil pastels again on another week. But right now we're going to use our green watercolor. You got your little pot that says G on the top of it like this. So we're going to take its lid off. Okay, and we got our little container of water. Paper towel we're going to need after we do the water. Now, we're going to be using the watercolor right out to the edge of your paper, so to make sure you've put some newspaper or something underneath, or that you're ready to wipe up. I don't want you to get the watercolor on the table. And remember, when we use watercolor, when it's wet you can wash off, but when it dries, it's permanent. It'll wash off your hands, although it'll stain your hands and it'll have to wear off for a couple days. But I don't want you to get any watercolor on your clothes. I know you're probably not in your school uniform. You might be in your PJs, but there might be PJs that Mom really likes and doesn't want green watercolor on them. If you have got all your coloring done and are ready for me to show you the watercolor wash, give us that little thumbs up symbol again. Let's see if most people are still coloring or most people ready to watch. And remember, don't worry if you take longer to color. I colored really fast, but that's because I've done this before. So don't worry if you need more time. Don't worry if you need more time to color. Don't worry, because remember, we can pull this video back up. So if you want to take a minute and watch what we're going to do with the watercolor, don't worry if you're not ready to do it, because you can do it and pull the video back up. You can watch what we do if you need to check again. Okay, Mr. Joe, is this a good spot to show what we're going to do? We want to keep our paper towel dry, so I'm going to keep it over there for right now. Okay. One thing I want you to remember, if I don't tell you, your styrofoam plate here, we're going to use it for our green watercolor today. And when we're all done, I want you to rinse your plate off. It'll rinse off in the sink, no problem. You can just run water over it, it'll rinse right off. We need to save our styrofoam plate because we're going to use them again on Friday with some different watercolors. On Friday we're going to make a night sky with some reds and some purples and some blues and really cool night sky with some mountains. We're going to pretend we're out west. So don't throw your plate away when we're done, okay? How are we doing with our coloring? Got any thumbs up that we're ready to do watercolor? A couple people are done. Okay, some of you might have done this before with me in class here at the studio. This is what we're going to look like. So while you're finished, I'm going to let a few more of us get done coloring, I'm going to show you on here. Do you see all the different shades of green? We got some really pale green when I first did the watercolor wash. Then we're going to go back and we're going to use a little bit more of the watercolor that's not watered down and make some streaks in here, like the feeling like we have some more stems. And then what's really cool is we're going to use our paper towel. If you've got any puddles, we don't want puddles to stay on the paper. And the paper towel will act like a magnet and suck those puddles right up. And if you press then the paper towel down, I wadded it up and pressed it in some places and picked up some color. So our background really looks like bushes and leaves back here now. Okay. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Put that right there. Well, I guess I have to put it over here. Okay. How we doing? You ready for me to show you some watercolor?
Tell them to give you a thumbs up.
Give me a thumbs up. Everybody go click on that thumbs up. Okay. And again, don't worry. If you're not ready to click on the thumbs up, that's okay. Take a little break. Watch me for a minute so you'll know what to do. And then you can keep coloring. You can color the rest of the day. You could have very intricate, all kinds of colors. You might have added 9 dragonflies on there. So you might still have a few more dragonflies to color. Okay, Mr. Joey says we're getting lots of thumbs up. Good job. Okay, we want to take this chip brush that you've got. Mine's been sitting in my water, so I'm tapping some water off. I don't need a ton of water on it. But I'm going to use this brush, and I'm going to take my little pot of green watercolor, and I'm going to pick up some of that green. I don't need to pick all of it up. I'm going to put it here on my plate. And then I'm going to dip my brush in the water, add some more water to it. I'm going to dip my brush maybe a couple times. These chip brushes hold a lot of water. See, I want my watercolor to be watered down about like that. See how watered down we are on here compared to here? Okay. So if you got it watered down like this, I got a lot of paint in my brush, so I'm trying to kind of swish the paint off my brush onto my plate here. So press your brush down, back and forth a little bit. That gets my big puddle of watercolor here, which is way more than I need to cover this one paper. Okay, so we're gonna take this. This is the coolest part. Watch. Everybody take a minute, stop coloring, and watch. When you take the watercolor, you can go right across your dragonfly, and look how cool that is. It just beads up. It doesn't stick to where we put the color. You don't have to worry about putting the watercolor in between lines. Look at that. Is that not cool? It's going to bead up and not stick to where you'd colored. And then it's going to give us this nice leafy, bushy background here. Pick up a little more watercolor for up in my corner here. Look how cool that is. Now, you see all these little fuzzies? I call them fuzzies. All these little pieces where I brushed across the oil pastel and I got little bits of it out here. Don't worry about those. Don't try to brush them out of the way now. When the painting finishes drying later today, you'll be able to brush those off. So don't worry. If you got all these little speckles like this, don't worry about it. We'll be able to brush them off later. Now, I could leave it just like that. You can leave it just like that if you want. I kind of wanted my background to look even more like it had leaves and bushes in it. So I took my brush. I'm going to stick it back in the green that's still in my pot here. So this is the watercolor we didn't water down. So I'm going to put it in that thick watercolor, and I'm going to take a couple places with the really thick watercolor and give the look of, and I can go right through. Yeah, remember I could make my stems go right through. Look at that. Now I'm getting this wild looking background like they're in the middle of a big leafy bush. And I promised to show you what to do with the paper towel. Might do one more little swish up here with some of this thick watercolor. Ooh, look at that. I like that. Ooh, this is fun. Oh, look. Don't we look like they're in the middle of this leafy bush? It looks so cool. Now, we can also, if you have any puddles, which Miss Jenny doesn't have any puddles showing, sometimes you'll get like a real thick puddle of the watered down watercolor at the edge, and you can take your paper towel and just scoop up that thick puddle. I don't have any puddles that I have to scoop up, so I'm going to wad mine up though like this, and I'm going to come in here and pick up just in a few places. I don't want to do it all over, but that also helps make it look like I've got, makes it look even more bushy and leafy out there. Okay, don't leave your chip brush sitting out. Put it back in your water so the brush doesn't dry out. That way you can wash it out, because we'll use it again later this week, and you used it last week, some of you. So always important never to leave your brush sitting out in between when you're doing things. When you're painting, you should always put your brush in your rinse water. So now we've got 2 dragonfly paintings. I'm going to put them both down here so you can see. See if Mr. Joey can catch both of those. I really like all the leafy stemmy parts of this one. I really like all the little swirls of white in this one. Almost looks like they've landed near a bush, like a white azalea bush. Do we have white azaleas? Yeah, I've seen white azaleas blooming on the island. So I think these 2 dragonflies found a white azalea bush, and I think these guys are on a very leafy green bush over here, but it looks pretty cool. I like it. And see how we see through their wings with the watercolor? So, you guys keep working on yours. Tomorrow we're going to do, we're going to use our black construction paper tomorrow. And our chalk. So you won't need anything from home tomorrow except maybe your pencil. We're going to use the black construction paper and our white chalk tomorrow. And we've had people going on and ordering bags for next week, so be sure and do that before they all get ordered up. And be sure and post pictures. I want to see if you got one dragonfly, or 3 dragonflies, or 5 dragonflies, or 7 dragonflies. Or did anybody make 9 dragonflies? You'd still be coloring. You'd probably still be drawing if you made 9 dragonflies. So be sure and post your picture, because I want to see what colors, whether we have Gamecock dragonflies, or whether we have pink and purple dragonflies, or what color combinations. You might have come up with a color combination I didn't even think of. So post your picture. Don't forget to tag us, that little @ for Idea Studio. Sorry about that. So post your picture and then tag us at Idea Studio so I can see your pictures, and we will see you all tomorrow. Bye.